Hello everyone, welcome back to this episode, you know. But before we do that, this is where we make finance fun. This is where we make accounting fun, you know what I'm saying? So let's have fun, because if you are working and you're not having fun, or you're doing something, you're not having fun with it, I tell you, you're miserable. You haven't got no passion for what you do. And when you haven't got no passion for what you do, I'm sorry, it ain't gonna last, baby. Telling you the truth. You know what I'm saying? So let's have some fun. Let's make finance fun. Let's make accounting fun. Let's know how to manage our money. Talking about budgeting, talking about planning, talking about savings and investment. So let's get about it. Okay? Now, I'm here to tell you that if anyone, these are rules that I apply to myself. This is what I've been doing, and I've done over the years. So I'm not just telling you what I don't know, I'm telling you what I know. Okay? I have 20 years experience as an accountant in running 10 businesses. 10 businesses. 10. Okay? Okay? So I know what I'm talking about. So what I'm about to share with you will help you be the best you could possibly be. And I can tell you, if anyone can follow these 5 basic rules, simple rules, I can tell you, you'll be a millionaire and a billionaire in no time. I can tell you that. Okay? So, the rule number 1 is, before I give you the rules, let me say something else, and that is, you see, when you work in a company, like I have done, I've been a finance manager, I've been a finance controller, I've been a finance director, international tax director. So, been there, done that. So I know what I'm talking about. If you work in a company and your company, first of all, as a finance manager or as a finance controller or as the FD or whatever you may call yourself, and you haven't got no budget, in finance, the first thing they tell you, every year before the financial year of any company starts, the first thing they do is they do budgeting. And I have another video that's going to come up in the next couple of days, which are tied to how to nail a finance job or a finance interview any day, anytime, any moment. Because I've gone through, and look, I've sat on over 100 interviews, and I've sent application, I've applied for over 200, 300, 500 jobs in the past 20 years. So it's coming from, so I know what I'm talking about. But now I run my own businesses that are generating multiple 6 figures, right? But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how I can help you be the best you could possibly be. Now, like I was saying, if you work for any company, or you're working for any company as a finance manager, finance controller, or even in marketing, in IT, or whatever department you work within the organization, the first thing before the beginning of the financial year is to do budgeting. You see finance people coming to you, they want to talk about budgeting. So they have to do budgeting and forecasting. That is number 1 thing that every company does at the beginning of their financial year. So if companies are doing that, what are you doing? Are you doing the same thing in your own personal life? It's my question. Are you, before you wake up in the morning or before the beginning of the week or at the beginning of the month, at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the week, do you have budget? Have you budgeted your money, your time? Have you budgeted what you're going to do? Have you forecasted how much it's going to cost you or what it's going to bring in? Have you done that? If companies are doing that, why are you not doing it? Okay? So, the first thing I want to talk about is what? Budgeting. 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 Budgeting is so important because without it, it's like you enter your car driving to no destination. So you get to nowhere. Budgeting is your roadmap, and we all need it. We all need it. I mean, you might have seen me. I mean, you might have seen some of my other videos wearing the T-shirt because this is one of my companies, as you can see, and it's also I have the logo here. Okay, this is just one of my companies, and so if companies are doing budgeting, why? What are you waiting for? Or you just wallowing away your time? And if you go for a job interview as a finance manager, finance director, or finance controller, the first thing, one of the technical questions they will ask you is about budgeting. You know, and if you fail it, I'm sorry, you're not gonna get a job. It's that simple. So you must know budgeting. And also within that budgeting is planning. Because budgeting is planning. 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 Do you have any plan for what you're going to do tomorrow, next week, next month, next year? Do you have any plan? Do you have any roadmap? You know, have you been able to say, okay, these are my resources that I need. I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that to get to where I'm going. You haven't got no plan. If you ain't got no plan, then the situation that you're going to face is going to be a pilot. Will be directing you on what to do. And that is the reason why most people, you know, always, whenever something happens or whenever they're going through something, they're always crying. They feel hopeless. I don't want you to feel hopeless. Because you're more than capable. You can do anything. Because that's a power the Almighty Universe has given to you and I. You can do anything. You're under control. No situation should control you. But you're living your life to be controlled by situations that are temporary, you know, because you haven't got no plans. What plans have you got for your life? Companies, where you work or where you're working, they've got a plan. They've got a budget. They've got a forecast. They've got plan. You're working there, but you haven't got none for yourself. So you're driving your car without destination. You end up nowhere. Don't live your life without people to control. You got to live your life to control your own life. You are the architect of your own destiny. Okay, baby. So let's jump to number 3. About these rules is decision. You got to decide. You've got to decide on what you want to do with your life. You see, decision is something companies do. So if companies are doing it, why are you not doing it? You've got to decide on what you want to do. What you want to do with your life, what you want to do with your money, how to generate money, what you want to do with your future. You have to decide what you're going to do with your retirement. You have to decide what you're going to do with your happiness, with your joy, with your peace. What are you going to do with it? Because if you haven't got no plan, you can make a decision. And if you can make a decision, you can decide that your life is going to be run by peradventure or by daily activities. You are not in control. So you're living your life for just circumstances to run. And that is not right. That's not the best way to live a life. You know? And that is, you can't even control how much you want to invest, how much education you want to acquire. Have you spent money to acquire knowledge? Get training, acquire courses, get knowledge. Spend money, invest your money. And that takes me to number 4. And that number 4 is savings. Savings and what? Investment. This is so important. Savings. If you haven't got a budget, if you don't know how to do budgeting, you won't plan obviously, and you won't decide, and obviously you won't have any savings. And so therefore, you're hopeless and you're useless. Because you haven't got nothing left. How are you going to invest when you haven't got no money? You know, you want to blame everybody. You want to blame everything around you. You want to blame your spouse. You want to blame your children. You want to blame your father, your mother. But let me tell you something. See, I wasn't brought up in a privileged home. Not even a middle class. I was brought up by the poorest of the poorest. My dad, trained himself to become an accountant. Right? My dad never went to school. But when he got a job, he decided, this was back in 1920s or thereabout, my dad decided to train himself. He studied accountancy and become qualified as an accountant. And then, as the customary is that if he was the eldest in his family, as the customary is that if you're the eldest in your family, once you're well to do, you take care of your younger ones. So he took care of his younger brothers and sisters. He trained them. He took them to school. Some learned trade, some learned other stuff, which he paid for. And my dad would always say, determination is the key to success. If you're determined, you must be determined in your life. And now, if you haven't got no savings, obviously you can make an investment. And you blame everybody. Companies where you're working, they have different bank accounts where they put their savings. Revenue comes, and what is that called? It's called equity, which is a different video I'm going to make altogether. And if companies can do this, so why are you not doing it? If you don't know how to do it, just look at your company and copy what your company is doing and replicate that in your own personal life, and you see the result. Okay? You must know how to save. And this savings, I put it in one of my trainings, or one of my videos. That's a principle I call priority principle. 80-20 principles. 80-20 principle. That your 20% effort should yield 80% output or result. 20% input or your effort should get your 80% result, and not your 80% input getting your 20% result. Then you're not living. You just survive. And you don't just want to survive. You want to live, because life is meant to be lived, to be led. Life is meant to be led. Okay? Be a part. Don't just spend all your money buying all kinds of stuff, buying stuff that are not I mean, I know some folks that just have a garage filled of junks from China. You know, buying stuff from Alibaba and buying some cheap stuff from China, fill their garage. And I know some folks that just keep buying stuff. Okay? Stop buying stuff. You don't need 2 credit cards. You don't need a credit card. You have your cash, you pay cash. Because you're not doing yourself a favor. My granddad would always say, a lender is always a master to the borrower, because the borrower is always a slave. It's also in one of my video, that the video where I gave how you can turn $10 into $100 in a week, or in a month, or in 90 days. And it's also, you know, on that video I recorded, titled, which is up here, it's also titled The Rules of Money. Because money is a game. Money is a game, and there are rules to play. For you to play the game of money, you must follow the rules. And so therefore, this is so important. And number 5 of these is giving, because it's giving, or being generous, or what we call generosity. Okay? Being generous. Giving back. Because, well, as a Christian, I don't know your faith, but it doesn't really matter. You know, whatever you believe. I have my friends who are Hindus and my friends who are Muslims. They will tell you the same thing. Giving, my Bible told me that giving is better than receiving. There is joy in giving. When you give, when you help somebody else, there is joy. Because when you give, the universe rewards you. The universe refills you. It's also one of the things I spoke about in my book. The book I wrote in 2020 during COVID. You know, it's titled The Mind. The mind is the fortress of riches and wealth. If you know how to control your mind, and the ability for anyone to control his mind comes from recognizing that you are 2 persons in one. Don't let your 5 senses with their limitations, because your 5 senses have limitations. Don't let your 5 senses with their limitations guide you, but let your inner man, which is your spirit man, your intuitive man or woman, guide you, your intuitive person guide you, lead you. Listen to your intuitions. Listen to those tiny voices. Because those tiny voices will remind you, hey man, hey baby, you haven't got a budget for this month. You know, for that you want to buy, there's no budget for it, so I haven't got a budget for that clothes or that shoes. I haven't got a budget for staying all night with my mates in the city to drink or whatever. I haven't got a budget for that. Because if I'm to spend $50 or $10 or £10 or whatever, you calculated every weekend you go out with your mates, with your friends, with your pals, and you spend $50. You calculate that in 4 weeks. That's almost $200. Invest $200 in stock today, and you tell me how much that will be in a year's time. You tell me the return that will be. Forgo buying a shoe or shoes this month, or clothes this month. Maybe that worth maybe $70 or maybe $100 or whatever. And say, okay, I'm not going to buy any clothes this month. I'm going to put that money in stock or in FX, or I want to invest that money in online business to make money either through TikTok or Instagram or whatever, or YouTube or whatever. And you see how much that $100 will get you back in a year's time. Okay? So I can continue and continue and continue, but you get to know this. You get to know how to make budget for yourself. That's rule number 1. 5 rules anyone needs to be wealthy. 5 rules anyone needs to be wealthy, or to build wealth, or anyone needs to be wealthy. Budgeting, planning. You need decision. You need to decide on what you want to do. And then you must have savings for investment. You must know how to invest. You must know how to build assets. You must know how to build assets and not liabilities, because asset is what creates you wealth. This is what creates you wealth over time, not liabilities, not credit cards. Credit cards are liabilities. Credit cards are liabilities. Okay? And in addition to that, you must also learn to give back. Giving back. Giving back to your community. Giving back to somebody else. Out of your knowledge, your experience, your money, your kindness, your love. Whatever you have to give back, because there's joy in giving. There's joy in giving. And the universe that we all in loves a cheerful giver. Because when you give, it will multiply that back onto you. Because it's like, yeah, this is me. He had to replenish himself, because himself is in you. So he had to replenish himself. And as he's replenishing himself, you're being replenished. Okay? So, anyway, I gotta jump out now to the next video. And I thank you so very much for listening to this video, because it really help you. And if you like the content, I will appreciate if you could subscribe, like, and share, because it all helps with Google algorithm, and it all helps to reach more people. Until next time, stay cool, and I'll see you in the next video.